Everyone thought Ragnar came to England for gold, but Season 1, Episode 7 proves something much darker. He didn't just want King Ælle's silver, he wanted to see how a Christian king thinks, what he fears, and how easily his pride could be turned against him. This was not a simple ransom. This was Ragnar testing a kingdom. And by the end, King Ælle wasn't paying for his brother. He was paying for his own humiliation.
Where are the heathens now?
Only one, perhaps 2 days away.
And your forces are ready and armed?
Yes, if you are ready to lead them.
I would regard it a great honor, sire, to defend our kingdom and our homeland.
Before Ragnar even enters the hall, King Ælle has already lost something more important than land. He's lost certainty. Season 1, Episode 7 does not show Ælle as a calm ruler dealing with foreign raiders. It shows a king whose world is being attacked by men he does not understand. Ragnar is not just an enemy army, he is a psychological problem. The Saxons call the Vikings beasts because it makes them easier to hate, but hidden inside that insult is fear. When a ruler cannot understand his enemy, he reduces him. He makes him smaller with words because he cannot control him with power. Ælle's court sees Ragnar as chaos, but Ragnar is not chaos. Ragnar is curiosity with an axe in his hand, and that is what makes him dangerous. Because while Ælle is defending a kingdom, Ragnar is studying a civilization.
See them up there? Yes, I can see. What are we waiting for? To see what they'll do.
This episode is called A King's Ransom, but Ragnar's real prize is not just silver and gold. Ragnar wants knowledge. He wants to see the English king's house, his court, his food, his rituals, his weaknesses, his pride, and his fears. To most warriors, England is a place to raid. To Ragnar, England is a mystery to unlock. That is the difference between Ragnar and ordinary raiders. Rollo thinks in survival. Floki thinks in gods. The warriors think in plunder. But Ragnar thinks in patterns. He understands that power is not only taken by killing men. Power is taken by learning what men worship, what they fear, what they protect, and what they are willing to betray. Leverage. Power gained by holding something another person badly needs. King Ælle has castles, soldiers, priests, and laws. Ragnar has curiosity. And in this episode, curiosity becomes a weapon.
This is the king's brother. What do you say? Shall we go visit the king?
God help them.
The Saxons believe the Vikings are wild men. Ragnar uses that belief against them. A stupid enemy attacks the strongest wall. Ragnar attacks the mind first. The night raid works because the Saxons are trapped by their own arrogance. They look at Ragnar's men and see savages, so they do not prepare for intelligence. They expect noise, rage and disorder. Instead, Ragnar gives them silence, timing and strategy. That is the hidden brilliance of this episode. Ragnar lets the Saxons underestimate him, then punishes them for it. When Æthelwulf is captured, Ragnar does not just gain a prisoner, he gains Ælle's heart. The king's brother becomes the lock, and Ragnar now holds the key. This is why Ragnar smiles so strangely throughout the episode. He knows the battle is no longer only on the field. It has moved inside Ælle's mind. This short exchange tells us more about Ragnar and Rollo than a long speech could. Rollo asks why Ælle should care about his brother, but the question is not only about Ælle, it is secretly about himself. Rollo is testing the value of brotherhood because his own relationship with Ragnar is poisoned by envy. Ragnar's answer is calm, but it cuts deep. Do I not care about mine? He is not only defending Ælle's emotional weakness, he's reminding Rollo that blood still matters, even when pride gets in the way. This is one of the quietest power dynamics in Season 1. Rollo wants to be seen as equal to Ragnar, but every time Ragnar speaks like a leader, Rollo feels smaller. Ragnar uses family as strategy. Rollo experiences family as a wound. That wound will keep growing in later seasons.
I want to see how he lives.
What manner of men they are?
When Ragnar enters Elle's hall, there are no swords swinging, but the war continues. The Saxons look at the Vikings with disgust. The Vikings look at the Saxons with fascination. Both sides believe the other is uncivilized. But Ragnar is doing something different. He's watching. He watches how Ælle presents his family. He watches how the court reacts to pagan behaviour. He watches their prayers, their manners, their discomfort. Ragnar is not embarrassed by being seen as rude. He almost uses it as a test. The Vikings break the rules because they do not respect the world those rules protect. Elle's court believes order comes from Christianity, hierarchy and obedience. Ragnar's world believes order comes from strength, fate and reputation. So when these two worlds sit at the same table, the meal becomes a war of symbols, and Ragnar wins because he is the only one learning.
£2,000 in weight. That is a price.
Ragnar's demand is not random. £2,000 in silver and gold is not only payment, it is humiliation. He's forcing a king to publicly admit that pagan raiders have more power over his family than his own army does. Ælle can sit on a throne, wear rich clothes and speak through priests, but Ragnar holds the brother. That changes everything. Ælle agrees, but agreement is not surrender. His face shows resentment. He wants to pay, but he also wants to punish. So he adds a spiritual condition. One Viking must become Christian. This is Ælle's attempt to regain moral control. If Ragnar wins the ransom, Ælle wants Christianity to win the symbol, but Ragnar allows it because he understands something Ælle does not. A ritual means nothing if the man inside it does not believe, and that is where Rollo enters.
I am a bit Christian.
Rollo's baptism looks funny on the surface, but psychologically it is one of the most important moments of the episode. Rollo is not converting because he believes. He is performing. He wants attention. He wants usefulness. He wants a moment where Ragnar needs him. Rollo's deepest hunger is not for Christianity or pagan glory. His hunger is recognition. Floki understands the danger immediately. For Floki, religion is identity. The gods are not decoration, they are the spine of their world. So when Rollo allows himself to be baptised, Floki does not see a joke. He sees betrayal, desecration, treating something sacred with disrespect. Rollo thinks he is playing with the Christians. Floki believes Rollo is playing with the gods. And Ragnar watches both reactions carefully, because Ragnar is always learning how men reveal themselves when belief is tested. King Ælle thinks he has deceived Ragnar. He sends empty chests, then attacks the Viking camp. On paper, this is smart. He wants to make Ragnar lower his guard with the promise of payment, then destroy him before the ransom is real. But Ragnar expected betrayal. This is why he is ahead of Ælle. Ragnar understands that kings do not like being embarrassed. He knows Ælle's pride will fight harder than his reason. So the Vikings are ready. The Saxon attack collapses because it is built on the wrong assumption that Ragnar is greedy enough to become careless. He is not. The Viking defence turns Ælle's surprise into a slaughter, and Rollo, wounded by Floki's judgment, fights like a man trying to prove his soul still belongs to Odin. His violence is not only battle rage, it is insecurity. Rollo kills Christians to silence Floki, but really he's trying to silence the fear that he has betrayed who he is. Æthelwulf believes Ragnar still needs him alive. That is a reasonable thought in a normal negotiation, but Ragnar is no longer negotiating. Once Ælle betrays the deal, the hostage changes meaning. Æthelwulf is no longer a bargaining tool. He becomes a message. Ragnar's decision is brutal, but it is also strategic. He teaches Ælle that betrayal has a cost. If a king breaks his word, Ragnar will not beg, complain, or return empty-handed. He will escalate. This is where Ragnar's darkness becomes clear. He is curious, charming, and intelligent, but he is not soft. His mercy is conditional. His patience has a limit. He sends Ethelwulf back like a warning carved in flesh. And after that, Ælle finally pays. Not because he respects Ragnar, because he fears what Ragnar will do next.
I want to serve you, and I accept your offer. Thank you. You and your daughter are now under my protection.
While Ragnar fights kings in England, Lagertha fights a different kind of war at home. Her battle is not against Saxons, it is against loneliness, responsibility and loss. As Earl's wife, Lagertha must govern Kattegat. She listens to disputes, controls the household, manages people who once belonged to Haraldsson's world, and carries the emotional weight of Ragnar's absence. Siggy's offer to serve her is politically dangerous and emotionally complicated. Siggy is not just a servant, she's the widow of the old Earl. She is a woman who lost status, protection and power. When she comes to Lagertha, she's not only asking for work, she's asking to survive. Lagertha accepts, but she does it like a ruler. She gives protection, not friendship. And then the miscarriage hits the episode with quiet tragedy. Ragnar wins gold in England, but Lagertha loses a child at home. That contrast matters. The episode shows the cost of ambition. Every victory somewhere creates an emptiness somewhere else. Ragnar is becoming greater, but his family is already beginning to pay the price.
I will avenge myself on him.
By the end of Season 1, Episode 7, Ragnar does not simply take money from King Ælle, he takes certainty from him. Ælle begins the episode believing he understands the world. Christians are civilized, pagans are beasts, kings command, raiders steal, God protects the faithful. But Ragnar breaks every simple belief Ælle has. He proves that pagans can be strategic. He proves that kings can be manipulated. He proves that religious superiority cannot stop a sharper mind. And he proves that betrayal can turn a ransom into revenge. This episode is one of Ragnar's clearest early victories because it shows the full shape of his power. He's not just a warrior, he's a reader of men. He studies pride, faith, hunger, fear and love. He understands that every ruler has a weakness hidden behind ceremony. For Ælle, that weakness is family and pride. For Rollo, it is insecurity. For Floki, it is religious purity. For Lagertha, it is the burden of holding power while carrying private pain. That is why A King's Ransom is not only about silver, it is about the price every character pays to become who they are becoming. Ragnar gains wealth and reputation. Ælle gains hatred. Rollo gains a deeper identity crisis. Floki gains suspicion. Lagertha gains grief. And the story gains a future enemy who will never forget this humiliation. Ragnar leaves Northumbria richer, but he also leaves behind a king who now dreams of revenge. And that is the dark truth of Ragnar's victory. Sometimes the thing you take from a king is not gold. Sometimes it is peace. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to the channel, comment your opinion below, and tell me which Viking scene, character, or hidden detail you want me to analyse next. Do you think Ragnar truly outsmarted King Ælle here, or did he create an enemy that would one day cost him everything? I'll see you in the next video.